Russia, and Russia doing what they do, and Russia ain't trying to hear nothing from America. America here trying to tell us Russian is this, that, and the third, but y'all still kicking out millions of dollars that come out of our pocket for people that work 80 hours a week, and now we can barely even get by. And you still gonna tax us, but you still spending money with Russia while oil prices going up and they making a fortune. Pass to the next person.
Always, the speaker
Sir, I
before
want to
always.
add here a very important point regarding the fellow mentioned about the China and China, the role of China in this crisis between Ukraine and Russia. Well, I have to say China can help end the war in Ukraine, but only if the US plays its cards right. The ongoing war in Ukraine is the first global crisis where China, the great power, might serve as a mediator in the tripolar system of Ukraine and Russia and US. Since the very beginning, Washington has not been treating China as an irrelevant party in this European crisis. Instead, it has been actively trying to divert Beijing from its chosen course of careful diplomacy. So, indeed, I recently confirmed that US officials spent at least 3 months trying to persuade their Chinese counterparts to help them deter Russian President Vladimir Putin for invading in Ukraine. And over a week into active conflict, the Americans are still eager to get the Chinese involved. After all, they know sanctions may not have sufficient impact on Russia without the support of second biggest economy in the world, China. The Chinese Xi Jinping is perhaps the only person who can convince Putin to rethink his actions and alter his plans. However, Washington is also aware of the fact that when Russia and the US had a confrontation
Zahid,
in the
Zahid, please. Um,
yes.
Zahid, please. I know you're making sense, but China and Russia. I mean, you know that many in this group are Americans. Okay,
Okay. No, but
and
no.
just
Here's America is also involved in this, right? I'm talking
yes,
about America as well.
Zahid, please. You are
Let me just say this.
bombarding.
Let me just say this, guy. I'm gonna wrap my end part up. 'Cause I hear what y'all saying. Let me just say this. You know how when you got like a group of people and a separate person be like, no, if I go down, you all go down with me. So just think about what's going on far as who need to be leading the world. And that's through back government. Because everything we have as an asset at this point is really not worth anything. So somebody's on the sideline acting like Iran out on the back end, letting everybody destroy each other, and then they're gonna come back out and be like, okay, now who's on top? See what I'm saying? That's how I'm looking at it. Now, I can be wrong, but at the end of the day, these same scenarios been going on for how many years? Because if you go all the way back 5, 6, 7 generations, we can't blame our parents, great grandparents, or they didn't know what was going on. This is why we are now having these discussions. This is how you can change generational curses because of discussions like this and wake up everybody that comes after us. But all I'm saying is that these patterns repeat themselves all the time. They hit us from the left so they can come from the right. And I
Exactly.
just feel like my point of view, China is playing that role like Iran, where you don't really see them, but they actually there. It's like a boss that owns anything, but you don't see nothing in his or her name.
Absolutely. Sir,
Can I,
first of
Zahid,
all,
please?
We're gonna go to Himanshu, then we're gonna go to Ike. No, sorry, Supreme, then Ike, then Zaid.
so I was saying that it's a trust deficit of China on the part of China towards US, and Beijing doesn't believe it has much to gain from demonstrating strong support for Washington. Indeed, many Chinese analysts think the only thank you China will get for supporting the U.S. in the Ukraine crisis would be increased, Western support for Taiwan, a more aggressive NATO, and another round of anti-Chinese alliance building in its neighborhood, such as the AUKUS, and between these Australia, Japan, and US. It is an open secret that the priority of American diplomacy in Asia is building alliances against China. We all know Beijing's deep distrust, perhaps the main reason why the Chinese officials initially dismissed the intel the Americans shared on Russia's invasion plans as psychological warfare. And another reason why Beijing is not yet fully convinced that it should involve itself in the Ukrainian crisis alongside the US is that so far American strategies have only shown it sticks. The American administration and media have long been threatening to paint China with the same brush as the Russian aggressor if it doesn't agree to cooperate. Moreover, we all know Washington has been pressuring India to apply sanctions against Russia. So Beijing knows that it can much more easily present China to the global community as a force against peace. So to convince China to use its influence over Moscow to end this crisis, I think the US needs to start offering Beijing some carrots. There's a need for a realistic approach, like to the one successful used by Henry Kissinger and Richard Nixon half a century ago. To achieve peace, the tripolar system demands more prudence and less idealistic assumptions or messianism. Yet another demonizing China since Trump's presidency. Washington might find it tricky to change public opinion right now. Thank you.
Thanks. I was just gonna say we got very off topic. This man asked a 2-scenario question. To answer your question, I would say scenario 1, that Russia wins, is the lesser evil. I believe that we were bullies. America was arrogant, and they're tired of our stuff, and they're calling our bluff. And I feel like that's the lesser evil, Russia winning.
Oh shit, what's up, Supreme?
What up, King?
So you made it here, man.
So yeah, to answer your question, I believe Himanshu, the lesser evil is scenario 1.
Thank you again for giving me chance. My point right now, since Russia invade Ukraine, so as you all heard my previous question, what happened if Russia wins, or what happened if Ukraine or pro-Western alliance like America and Europe wins? But now my question is, how about if China follow the same template and invade Taiwan?
Taiwan is next.
So since Taiwan doesn't have any treaty like Ukraine, they don't have a nuclear, they don't have a new NATO security cover, and Taiwan pay America $1 billion plus security fees annually. I don't know how much more. But again, America doesn't need. I mean, Joe Biden just recently said they don't need to be with Taiwan. So, in fact, I'm not going to go American politics about who is good or bad, Democrats or Republican. But my thinking is, since I'm living, I'm Asian, and and my good friends are Taiwanese. Taiwan is even tinier than Ukraine, and less powerful than Ukraine, even less population than Ukraine. And China is very close.
Taiwan is the home of semiconductors.
Yes, you're right. Thank you very much. I think you made a very good point. But again, Taiwan can be invaded within 2-3 days, 5 days by China, compared to size and power and money. And yet, if you look at the politics, even we can say China is, Russia is enemy all the time. Even we can look a movie, Hollywood movie, everything we can look at that Soviet Russians are enemy. I mean, very, very clearly. But China is still not in the picture of American household. As example, we can't even criticize China for massacre of Muslims. We can't criticize China openly because many sports players, even Hollywood personalities, they cannot operate there. So China is a different case. But in case of China, is the same. They are doing the same thing. And if they invade Taiwan, what America, especially Western powers, because I come from India, I'm very clear about it.
Oh,
My
you are our
understanding clear.
neighbor.
I live in
You're our
Germany.
neighbor, Mr. Hemans.
Hello?
You are our neighbor. Wow, Indian. That's
Nah,
great.
namaste.
All right,
Namaste.
one sec.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Namaste. I am
Walaikum
Uh-huh.
pro.
salam. Walaikum salam.
I'm pro
Walaikum
everybody.
salam, man.
But my
Salam.
point is, what if China do the same template what Russia did and invade
Okay.
Taiwan?
Okay.
How are we going to do? Because right now, entire Europe, especially Germany, very soft relation with China, and they have a very good relation with Russia, especially yet now. They have no against problem with energy ties with Russia, and they haven't spoken nothing about China. So my problem always, how can West united and can say, all right, fuck off Russia or fuck off China. And I know it's not straightforward problem. We can't say fuck off, fuck off. It's not easy. But we need to have a similar stand. If we want to save the humanity, if we want to really be less hypocrite, we're mostly hypocrite anyway.
Okay.
But what can
Can
be
you
done?
finish up so we can
Very
move
good
on to the
question.
next people,
Very good
please?
question.
One
Hemans.
sec. No, Zaid. One sec, Zaid. Ike?
Yeah, okay. I can respond to some of
Yo,
the.
United Risk, what's up, bro? Glad to have you here.
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Hey, China and Taiwan. I just posted a video on my Twitter page. Is the Chinese minister addressing America regarding putting our Atlantic fleet, our nuclear fleet, on the Chinese water to patrol it in solidarity with Taiwan. And this Chinese government, they openly threatened the United States military that if they put that nuclear fleet on that water, that they're going to turn it into a pile of steel and sink that nuclear fleet in the ocean. That is an open threat to the United States might by the Chinese government. Just look at the video, is out there. You can Google and see the rest of the longer piece. So what does it mean? They said if the US,
their military stuff will be reduced to scrap iron.
Yes, no, not the military. It's going to be that, it's going to be the vessel, the nuclear, the nuclear, whatever, the destroyer that we're going to put in the water. They're not going to
through the Taiwan Strait.
Yeah, the Taiwan Strait, and they said they're going to turn Taiwan into a pile of dust. That's a lot of threat right there.
I don't think they said Taiwan. I think they're talking about our destroyer. They're going to turn our destroyer into scrap iron if we pursue.
No, look at it fully. They said that
I read it. I just read everything he said.
Okay. So whether China is going to invade Taiwan is just a matter of, they're going to walk over Taiwan, because right now the world has grown to the point that there's a strong plurality of power. And because we have people in government that are not playing their cards right, so the other people, the other, plurality, the other group are unifying themselves more solidly. Because if Russia loses this, then China is next, because we're going to isolate Russia. And once Russia loses it, what's going to happen is that the NATO, the US is going to break up China into tiny little pieces. It's going to be tiny countries. We try to do it through using Georgia, instigated Georgia to go and, into a conflict with armed conflicts against Russia, and Russia taught Georgia a lesson. You know, Georgia is not going to try it again until